My timing sucks, it feels bad, there's no pocket. Well, according to this viewer.
I guess it's cool that you know all of these, but damn, the feel is so bad. The video you embedded on your site is worse. The notes are present but not aligned, nor are they in the pocket.
As I was writing this script, this comment popped up on the same video.
Nice job. Sounds and feels good.
And I don't know who was right about my timing, but it just so happened that the same week I got the first comment, I got an email from the developer of Beat Mirror, one of my favorite metronome apps. Maybe 10 Kettles wrote the original comment.
Everybody here can agree on absolutely one thing.
So I did what any well-adjusted, successful entrepreneur would do. You got to work improving your time? No. I moped around for a few days, acting like it's not fair that the mean guy said those things, and then
Stop.
I remembered the Beat Mirror email and got to work proving that I have good time, or at least working on it. Was that believable? Maybe he wrote the comment. Bring the Conga in here.
Warning. Much of the content of this video is based on initial attempts to find the groove. Only constructive criticism, however negative it may be, is welcome. A few moments later.
That's starting to settle in, right? Well, I would agree, only the target tempo was 90. I just couldn't get this groove to settle in at 90. I feel like a failure. So back to the problem. And it isn't the comment, although I disagree with the comment from a contextual perspective. I generally agree with the viewer's impression of that performance. I could definitely spend more time settling into the groove and focusing on the finished product by practicing more in the days leading up to the recording session. But I often don't do that for a tutorial video because it's about teaching the rhythms and providing some context. And I'm a one-man show doing all of the video production stuff, so I don't have a lot of time. However, the viewer is right. My timing and feel and pocket are inconsistent and need some work, and that's the problem that led me to consider the following questions.
But yeah, you have to play to a click, and a click is hard, and that's a good thing to practice to. With a click, you can play behind the beat if you want. You can play on top of the beat if you want. But you can judge. You got to dig. With music, most music, unless it's jive, disco, dance stuff, a verse will feel one way. The chorus should lift up maybe and feel another way. The bridge or the solo section should feel something else, and stuff should be emotional.
Are we looking for robotic accuracy or musical feel? The difference between the two, depending on the genre or the musical situation, might be closer than some think. For some genres like pop, rock, dance music, the timing is often right with the metronome and everyone should be locked in and aligned. While other genres like jazz or Latin have different stylistic relationships with tempo. Jazz tends to breathe a little with the phrasing, and Latin styles like salsa or samba have a locked-in half-note pulse with pushing and pulling that occurs with the subdivisions in between the pulses. Not to make this more confusing, but some of the pop rock stuff is heavily influenced by jazz or Latin music, so fusion and innovative groove styling can throw that, well, what I just said, out the window. The best advice I've heard came from Abe Laboriel Jr. I can't remember the interview or masterclass that I saw. He said that he doesn't worry too much about ahead or behind the beat. He said he tries to just play in time. I think when you do that, the energy of the performance and the people you're playing with can take the groove and feel in a direction that's good for the song. Musicians want permission to be human and expressive, not just metronome slaves, and this is where I turn into a little bit of a geek. I studied ethnomusicology in grad school, and one of my focuses was on music and motion. So basically, the underlying issue that I'm talking about here. I really liked reading Charles Kyle's work. His theory on groove centers on what he calls participatory discrepancies, the intentional human deviations from mathematical time. And rather than being mistakes, they are the very source of the feel. These differences among players, I think, are where some of the energy is generated. It rubs our perception of what we're hearing and leaves us with a perfectly imperfect relationship with time. Pocket is a buzzword that gets tossed around a lot but remains vague for many.
We know it when we are in it.
To me, it's when the rhythm section and the band are playing the tempo that feels perfect for the song and everyone is playing so much together and consistently to the degree that the groove makes you want to move or feel something. You can get really advanced with this stuff. Look at some of the micro timing stuff influenced by producers like Jay Dilla. You see like Questlove from The Roots doing a lot of stuff it's in time but it's intentionally out. And that's the style. So it's not always as clear as what people think it should be. And it might feel off to one person and it might feel amazing to someone else. And that goes back to just the way we perceive and feel music and really what our tastes are. So ultimately, you know, those two comments, the first comment was, this is no good. And the second comment is, there's nothing wrong with this. You know, I'm gonna take both. All right, because you can't take the good and leave the bad, and you can't just take the bad and not take the good. That none of that is fair to yourself. You have to acknowledge the fact that there's always something you can do to improve. I can get that groove to fall back onto 90, or maybe I just set the target at 93 because that's where I want to play it. It all just depends, and I've been in situations like this professionally many times where we set it at 90 and we're playing and the producer's like, it's just not feeling right. They kick it up to 93 and it's like, boom, there's the track. So, and likewise, I've been in situations where they said, hey man, let's do that again and please don't rush. All right, and you take a few breaths and you get a control of your heart rate and you really focus on it and you play it exactly the way they need you to. You know, is it the way you want it to play it or the way you are naturally feeling it? Maybe not. But, you know, that's higher level stuff that most players aren't going to need to deal with. Most of us, and thankfully so, are going to be in a more human experience where the interaction with the audience is so important that, you know, if one person thinks they don't like it, all right, that's one person in the audience. You know, maybe there's something that you take from that, and maybe you just leave it on the stage and move on to the next gig.